Hello, fourth graders, and welcome back. I'm Mrs. Lamondo here to bring you our Fontes and Pinnell mini lesson of the day. As I mentioned last time, we're in our brand new umbrella of lessons all about fantasy. Last time we were together, we heard the book Westlandia. We'll be doing a lot more with that in future mini lessons. And today we're at LA U21 Lesson 2. Let's listen to another fantasy story called Night of the Gargoyles. As we listen, think about what is true about fantasy books. Think about the characters, the setting, and what happens in the story.
Hi, it's Mr. Tan. I'll be reading Night of the Gargoyles with you. While I read, I may ask you a thinking question or two to help you do your best thinking. After I'm done, you should write your answers in your online reading response journal as a read aloud response. Remember, you can always watch the video again if you need to. And now, Night of the Gargoyles by Eve Bunting, illustrated by David Weisner. Gargoyle. A waterspout in the form of a grotesque human or animal figure projecting from the roof or eaves of a building. So before I move on, a waterspout is basically like a gutter that would direct the water when it rains away from the building, so it wouldn't just pour down the side of the building. Grotesque means ugly, almost monster-like. So a monster-like human or animal figure. I grew up in New York City, so one of my favorite things to do as a kid was to go look up at an older building to see if I could spot some gargoyles. Next time you're in the city and you're by one of the older areas where you see older buildings, look up, see if you can find a gargoyle or two yourself. Night of the Gargoyles. Eve Bunting in this book imagines what it would be like if the gargoyles were to come to life. So as you listen to the book, I want you to ask yourself, would you want to write, what kind of story could you write like this as well, where something that isn't really alive comes to life? The gargoyles squat high on corners, staring into space, their empty eyes unblinking. To squat means to sit sort of crouched over. Till night comes. Then there is movement in the shadowy corners as the gargoyles creep on stubs of feet along the high ledges and peer, nearsighted, into rooms where mummies lie in boxes, long and thin as coffins, ribboned round with painted boats and figures dark as night. Look at those mummies down there. What kind of building do you think these gargoyles are on? And gargoyle creep again to gape at suits of armor, shining stiff, their helmets hinged on eyes as bloodless as their own. Or, tired of viewing, fly, if they have gargoyle wings, straight up to lick the stars with long stone tongues, green pickled at the edges, or land in sleeping trees, to swing on branches, da-dee-da, and feel the air move cool against their pockmarked stone. To be pockmarked means to have little holes in it or scars. Then, down they swoop to where a fountain splashes dark, the water spitting from a cherub's mouth. They gargoyle hunt around the rim and gargoyle grunt with friends from other corners who have come for company. They grunt of what they've seen and where they've been, how hot the corners when the sun is high, especially the ones beside the clock, how noisy too. They grump of summer passing and the rain that pours in torrents through their gaping lips and chokes their throats with autumn's leaves. Torrents, by the way, means large amounts of water, like a flood. And then those birds that come to rudely perch and leave behind their mottled stains. What do you think those mottled stains are made out of? Ooh, don't say it. They lap the water with their mossy tongues, splat each other with their claws, and boom, those gargoyle laughs that rumble thick because there's no space inside their solid stone for laughs to somersault. To lap, by the way, means to drink by licking your tongue, like a cat does. A watchman hurries by and checks the sky for thunder. He's seen the gargoyles huddled there before, and once he told the man behind the frosted door and heard him snort his disbelief. Gargoyles indeed, you're seeing things. So now he checks the sky to hide his fear. The gargoyles rasped their wings and put their thumbs behind their crumbling ears to show their scorn. They have no love of humans who have made them so and set them high on ledges where dark pigeons go. They stomp their feet and rumble laugh to see the watchman close his eyes and turn away. Awk, the gargoyles scream, and awk again, and spread their lips in mischief smiles. The watchman hunches down and hurries on. It's almost morning now, and so the gargoyles fly, or wingless crawl up walls as spiders do. They take their corners quietly and stare, their empty eyes unblinking. Till night comes. And that's Gargoyles by Eve Bunting. Now, when you read that story, obviously, some things in that story could actually happen. They're realistic, and some things are only things that could happen in the imagination. You may have read a
All right, let's pause there. I love how Eve Bunting, the author of Night of the Gargoyles, takes some real life thing and turns it into fantasy. The fantasy books are made up magical stories. When you read today, think about whether the genre of your book is fantasy. We will be using Night of the Gargoyles and coming back to that book again in a future mini lesson. So make sure you understand the plot. All right, fourth graders, that's all for today. Until next time, bye.